Is that her? I don't know if you can hear. But we came here because I am a day over my due date. And I had cervical pain. So we came. That's why I'm in my sexy pink gown. I can't go lower because I'm on the side and my booty's out. Because I like the air on my cheeks. But anyway, the lady next door is having a baby. And she is screaming bloody murder. And now I want to go home. Hi guys, today I will be sharing my birth experience. My due date was March 20th, 2018. March 21st, I was at the gym, still no baby. I've been working out every single day towards the end of my pregnancy. I was getting pretty impatient. We started, me and my friend, literally concoction for me to start labor. Natural thing, of course, like eating like 3 pineapples a day till we found out that it was a minimum of 7 till 10 pineapples a day to actually do something about it. So it was a lot of pineapple towards the last 2 days. Well, I did a little castor oil, like literally just a little, which just gave me contraction and to go to the bathroom, obviously, because that's what it is for. But no baby, nothing. She told me, let's go to the hospital, let's see what they say. And I kind of was like, whatever, because I felt like they were going to send me home, and I was just tired of going to the hospital, getting undressed, getting in that gown, doing tests and blah blah blah, and then being sent home. Like, I just didn't want to do that. But I was like, whatever, I'll do it. Let's just go. So after the gym, I went home, took a shower, and she was like, let's just get your bags, your hospital bags, in case, you know. So I was like, yeah, for sure. I mean, why not? They put me in a room, obviously, and put all the monitors already for my contractions, for his heartbeat, and they're asking me for paperwork, blah, 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 blah. So the lady then comes back and she said, well, we're going to do all these tests and we'll see if we are going to induce you or not. And she said, how far are you? I was like, well, I'm a day late. She said, okay, let me go check your history papers, whatever. When she come back, the lady said, we actually found an ultrasound from when you were 12 weeks pregnant, and it says that you're actually a week late. You're actually 41 weeks today. And I'm like, what? I thought I was due on March 20th. She said, no, you were due March 14th. So at this point, the fact that I was past 41 weeks, this is when they actually want to induce you, because they don't want you to go towards 42 weeks. Just saying that she was going to try a membrane sweep, and which I didn't know what it was, and found out. But because it was 41 weeks, she was telling me that they wanted to induce me. Then they came back and they told me that unfortunately today was really busy. Everybody wanted to have their babies and they were booked, like booked. Like there was no room for me and to be induced and to have like staff to take care of me. So I was kind of like really bummed out at this point, because I'm like, man, we're here, we're at the hospital, things started to get ready. You're telling me I'm a week late, I need to be induced. Let's do this already. It is March 21st. It's what time? It's 5:22.
5:42.
It's not good?
That is wrong. No, it's 5:42.
Oh, it's 5:42. And they checked my cervix, and I was just dilated 1.5. They told me that if baby don't look good later on, they will induce me. Or if everything is fine, they will just sweep my membrane. And if anything happens, baby's moving. If nothing happens, I mean, they'll send me home, obviously, until I start contraction. My head hurts. She said it depends for some women, because, sweeping membrane is not a for sure science. But he's moving. But some women will come back within a few hours. Some women will come back a day after or 2 days, or some women, it didn't do nothing, So the fact that I'm like over my due date already, I hope that it actually does something. I personally want my baby to be completely healthy, but no lie, I would like to be induced instead of having a sweep membrane because I was told that it was very, very painful. So I'm not looking forward to that. And actually, like the way I'm feeling, I don't know if I'm having contraction or if my belly is just tight or if I have to poop. It's one of them three. So this is what's going on. I'll see you later. Well, should we hope to stay here and just to get it over with? Yeah, I guess that's what we're hoping. It's a good day to have a baby, right? Oh my gosh, I'm scared. I'm scared. So she was telling me that she was gonna come back in a few hours to let me know if I was staying or not. The doctor said, do you want to try a membrane strip or sweep? I forgot. And I was like, what is it? She said, well, this is when I use my fingers and I go inside of your cervix and I make circles to kind of like separate the sac and everything. And she says it's gonna be uncomfortable. I said, I can do uncomfortable. Well, let's see if it's painful now. She said, okay, we'll do that. And usually it triggers some women's labor. I was kind of worried. And yeah, that was the first traumatizing experience of the day. She went past the cervix, which did not like bother me. But as soon as she started like making circles inside to separate the sac, I was in a lot of pain. It was painful. I can tell that it was painful where I try to take it as much as I could. And after a couple of them, I say, stop. And maybe because I was tired and also the hormones, and I started crying. My friend came like to comfort me, and all I was doing was in bed, just closing my eyes and crying. I couldn't answer nobody's questions. It kind of like, yeah, that was the first traumatizing experience of that day and this whole experience. That membrane sweep was very painful to me. I don't know for other women, but for me, it was very, very painful. And I just cried for a good 3 minutes in silence, not talking, not saying anything, because I felt like this was it. Like it's the start of a long process that's going to be painful, and like that's it. It's here. The day is here, and it was painful. So I asked if I could walk around because we were tired of being in the room. They're supposed to check me in an hour. Oh, and I just had the worst experience of my life because they are busy and I might not have a bed to take me for the induction. They actually did a membrane sweep. I don't even wish that on my worst enemy. Like literally, it was horrible. But right after, my contractions started getting actually very, very intense and more often. So hopefully it's a good sign. And they're supposed to check my cervix again in an hour. So I'm praying in Jesus' name that my cervix is actually open a little bit more. This lighting is horrible on top of the fact that I'm completely ugly. Look, is with me. I want her to have a membrane sweep.
You're funny.
Where are we going now? I don't know.
Just walking.
We're just walking, and it's a cute couch. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that works. The lady told me that they were gonna come back in a few hours to see how dilated I was. At this point, I was just 1.5. When I got there that day, I was 1.5, and so they wanted to see if the membrane sweep was going to do anything, so I had to wait a few hours. So then it's like nighttime, and the lady comes back and she said, we're going to induce you, so you're staying. I was like, oh, so I'm staying? She's like, you are staying. So I'm looking at my friend like, damn, like this is it. It's real. It's getting real. I'm about to have a baby. I don't know when, but I'm gonna have a baby like ASAP soon. It got real, and she was like, well, I'm glad that I got your bag. So she brought all my bags and everything, trying to start getting like comfortable, and they made me wait hours and hours and hours, of course. So after that, the lady came, the doctor, I don't know, I keep calling her the lady. The doctor came and she explained to me how I was going to get induced. She said it's a balloon thing. So they put, how would I explain that? It's like a long tube that they put inside of your cervix, and on top there's a balloon that's gonna like blow, and it's gonna put pressure on the cervix for the cervix to open so you can be more dilated. Of course, these contractions are forced, so they are more intense. He put the balloon thingy up there, don't feel anything at that point, and at the bottom there's another tube coming out. All right, yeah, as you can see, my face has changed. Update. I am still dilated at 1.6. Oh. And they're going to induce me, so I am staying for sure. Alexis is not being useful. She's mad. And what else? Did I tell you that my doctor's name is named Dr. Burger? Just like my burger. And that I actually might have my son on Burger's birthday, which is tomorrow. And what else has happened? Oh, they're about to induce me with a balloon. Say hi.
Hi.
Damn, that voice, she's a man. So yeah, I did my makeup because I was tired of seeing my face so like beat up. So I had nothing to do, and it literally took me like what, 5-10 minutes. So it was pretty quick.
Your makeup?
Yeah.
Bitch, please. It
What?
took you like 15.
15 minutes?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Well, it's hard when you're on the bed. There's no light, no lighting. I don't have a mirror, and I had to use my phone. I actually had to get up and then use that mirror to do my eyebrows. Yes, bitch. So yeah, just stressing now. Just waiting. And that's Hayden, as you can hear. See you later. Anyway, as soon as that's done, this is when I start feeling pressure automatically. Like it was starting to really feel heavy on my cervix, and I started having contraction. I'm pretty late on my update, so it's now 5 o'clock in the morning. They induced me around 2 or 3-ish, I think, around 2-ish. They did the balloon thing that they put past my cervix that blows and kind of put pressure on the cervix to open it. And they, of course, gave me the product also to help them inducement. And then this is when I started having the worst pain ever. Like when I say unbearable contractions. I was holding on to the bed like for my dear life, like shaking because I was in so much pain. Unbearable, so painful. Yeah, it started these contractions like crazy. Then they saw that I was so, I don't like when they use the word uncomfortable. Like I keep telling people there's uncomfortable and there's painful. Like I passed that level of uncomfortable, like I'm in pain. So the lady gave me some kind of pain medicine. Excuse me. She said it would not take the pain all the way away, but it would actually help a little. She said it will make me feel woozy. Oh my gosh, as soon as she put the thing injected in my IV, it made me feel like crap. It made me feel like I was drunk, like the not good kind of drunk, like the drunk where you need to pass out because you have a headache, you're nauseous, you feel sick, you don't feel good. This is exactly how it made me feel. It made me feel sleepy as well, even though I cannot sleep. I have too much on my mind right now. And but it has helped with the pain. I still feel my contraction, just not as bad, thank God. Even though it's been a while since she gave it to me right now, so I feel like it's kind of like wearing off a little. But it has helped me. It has kind of like relaxed me. That's why we turned the lights on, and I've been trying to just lay down and sleep. I can't really sleep, like I said, but it's better to be like that than just like sitting up with the light on, not knowing what to do. So, like I said, it's 5 o'clock right now. Alexis is asleep. And yeah, I'm just trying to go through this. Hopefully, I pray in Jesus' name that my cervix is really opening up. Because then if it does open up to a 4, then I'll be able to get an epidural. So, yes, that's something I'm looking forward to right now. This is no joke. This is no joke. Hello, everyone. It is officially 1 p.m. She took the balloon out of me like 30 minutes ago. And great news, I am finally 5 centimeters dilated. So I'm about to eat my last meal before my epidural. And I also just lost my mucus plug. And so now we're just waiting for things to just keep moving.
Ooh, shit.
What?
I got a shiver. Like, my ear felt all like itchy.
Oh. So yeah, that's what's going on. I'm still feeling contraction. It's still painful, but right now I'm having a huge headache from lack of sleep. I haven't slept. I'm very tired. I'm exhausted. I could actually sleep right now.
Turn this on right now. Is that okay?
Huh?
Just fix my
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Doctor, of course I can't remember his name, from Mountain View Hospital in Las Vegas. I was told by my nurse, Jill, amazing nurse, that he was the best, that he was quick, that he was amazing, blah, blah, blah. So that's funny because the epidural was never something I was afraid of, like never. But now it's time, it's about to happen, and I'm kind of like feeling like, oh my gosh, is it gonna hurt? So anyway, I'm in a position where, you know, I just like arch my back for him to actually reach the right point to give me the epidural. So I feel a little pressure. Nothing bad. I'm like, okay. He numbed the back area to actually put the epidural. So he's like, okay. And I said, all right. Let me know when you're done. You know. He was like, I'm done. And I looked at him. I was like, what do you mean you're done? He's like, yeah, I'm done. It's over. It's finished. And I was like, I thought you just numbed. He's like, no, I'm numbed. And I did it. And like, really, he was amazing. I didn't feel a thing. Like, I did not feel a thing. Like, it was nothing. So I was happy I had the epidural, and now it was just chilling time. It was just long. I've been here all day. I'm kind of exhausted, but I can't sleep. I really cannot sleep. So the epidural was nice. I was not feeling nothing. They broke my water. I mean, they did my epidural first, which was wonderful. Dr. Henry was wonderful. Like, I didn't feel a thing. It was so quick that when he was done, I thought he was done numbing my back, like the area. I didn't think that he actually did the whole thing, and he was actually done. I had a sharp pain in my back, just on the left side. It was really strong, like really, really strong. It went away when she kind of laid me down on my back. Then he gave me a stronger dose, which made me feel like way better. She put the catheter inside my urethra. What else happened? And then they broke my water, which was so funny. There's a light right on top of me. In the middle, I kind of actually act like a mirror. So I could see everything, and I saw all the amniotic fluid sac just coming out. TMI for some, but it was actually funny because you can't feel it, but you feel the sensation of like the liquid. And she said, oh my gosh, there's so much liquid, it would not stop. This is pretty funny to me. It's so weird to record like that because I don't know where to look. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm getting super numb right now. Yeah, I'm getting numb. So yeah, water broke. Now gotta wait. I am anxious. Yeah, I am scared. I'm more scared because of the pushing part and eventually hurting or whatever. But I just cannot believe that this day is here. Like, it's not this day is here. This moment is here. Like, I remember finding out that I was pregnant, and I remember saying like, oh, 14 weeks, 20 weeks, like whatever. And it's just like, now I'm here. It's here. In a few hours, I'm gonna have a baby. I'm gonna have a son. I'm gonna be a mother. Yes. It's real. I had a side effect to the epidural that I'm sure a lot of people experience. A lot of people say they get the shake. I had the itch. My whole body was itching. When I say itching, it was just not a little scratch. My whole body was itching to the point where like I wanted to scratch the skin off like my body. Like I was in so much pain. Like the itching was literally no joke. And I just wanted to make it stop. So they gave me Benadryl, which did not help at all. And I was just like itching my belly with the monitors. The monitors made it worse because I was sweating and I was just like scratching under them. So they had to come back to like place the monitor again. And I was like, it's just driving me crazy. Like I can't take it. Like it was to the point where the itching was painful. Like I was going crazy all over my body. So I'm lacking of sleep. I'm here scratching like a crackhead. They didn't give me anything else. They didn't really know what to give me. So the itching was really bad. And the thing is, every time that the epidural was wearing off, I pressed the button to get more. And of course the itching was coming back like crazy, crazy, crazy. It was starting to get long and long and long and long. And it was just really, I was just super tired, but I could not sleep for the life of me. I just could not sleep. In the night of the 22nd to the 23rd, something happened that I will never ever forget. For the balloon, I was 1.5 centimeters. When they took the balloon out, I finally was at 5 centimeters, which allowed me to get the epidural. So the whole time of the balloon, I did not have an epidural, which was very uncomfortable, and I could feel the pressure on the cervix. So it took hours and hours for the balloon to just get there. When they took the balloon out, I was 5 centimeters, which I was very happy. That's when they gave me the epidural. Then it took hours and hours and hours. I went from 5 to 7, which I was very happy. I was like, yes, we're making progress. And it took hours and hours to get to 8 and then to get to 9. And I got stuck at 9. I was not dilating more, and it was so frustrating. And it's like, I have my people with me at the hospital, and I felt like I was letting them down. Like, can't you just dilate already? Like, people waiting. They're just wondering, why is it taking so long? And I'm over here like, I'm trying to figure that out, try to figure it out too, you know, like, why don't you want to come out? So it took hours and hours and hours. I was just stuck at 9. So in the night of the 22nd to the 23rd, I was still at 9 centimeters on epidural. There was nothing we could do, or we just had to wait. We just had to wait, which was very, very frustrating. I still had no sleep in these 2 days. And what happened, the nurse checked me around 12, was it 12 o'clock? I think, yeah, she checked me around 12 o'clock. And she said, you're still 9 centimeters. She said, I will send a doctor in 30 minutes, an hour, so she can check again. So the doctor was supposed to come back at 1 a.m. to check me. I actually fell asleep around 12:30. The thing is, I don't sleep very heavy, meaning that if a nurse was to come in, if the door was to open, I would automatically wake up. That's just how I sleep. So I fell asleep, and I actually woke up around 2 a.m. and in the worst pain of my life. I felt like I was dying. I felt like this was it. I'm not gonna get out of this hospital, and if I'm not dying, I was wishing death upon me. I had never ever felt a pain like this in my life. I didn't understand it. I was confused. I was lost. My body was just like in so much pain. I didn't understand what was going on. I woke up screaming and screaming and screaming, and I'm not a screamer, but I was screaming. I was grabbing the handles of the bed and just like turning and like shaking, like everything. I called their nurse. I was putting the epidural in, like I didn't understand what was going on. And the nurse came and she said, well, I don't know what's going on. And long story short, we find out that the epidural was out of my back, so I was not getting any epidural. So I was feeling everything. I was in natural mode, no epidural, no nothing. And this nonsense lasted for an hour and a half. They were so booked that night. They only had one guy that did the anesthesia and did the epidural, and he was not coming. They told me, yes, I'm going to tell him to come. I felt at this point that the pain felt like he was already coming out. Like I felt like a stretch of pressure that was taking all over my body. I was like screaming like a crazy person. I was calling for my mama. I was grabbing and shaking everything. And at one point I started to get really angry because the doctor did not come to see me. And if I had been awake around 1 a.m., I feel like I would have not felt that pain. And if I had started feeling that pain where I was not getting epidural, I feel like we could have done something about it quicker and I would have never gone through that pain. The thing is that they were so busy that for a while during that hour and a half, nobody came to check upon me, no nurse, no doctor, and this guy that was supposed to give me the epidural, the night shift, not the amazing doctor that I had before, nobody was checking upon me, and I was losing my mind. My friend was looking at me crying because she saw the pain that I was in, and I wanted to die. I really wished death upon me. Like I've never experienced that pain. I literally do not wish this pain on anybody. And they say, oh, well, a lot of women do it naturally. Well, hands down to them, but naturally on top of like being induced with the contraction that are forced and pushed, it was unbearable. You cannot live through that. Like there is no way, especially with 29 hours of labor. Like I was in labor for 29 hours, and that hour and a half with no epidural, till this day I'm still traumatized. Like even when the doctor finally came and gave me the epidural, he was taking forever. I was having contraction while he was doing it, and it took everything in me to not move, and I was just like grabbing on and just suffering. I was praying to God that it would end. I was like, God, why? The time felt like an eternity. I felt like I was never gonna come out of it alive. It was the worst experience of my life. After that, it took a while for the epidural to kick in. As soon as it kicked in, I was in heaven. Two things. One, because it was back strong, so I was not feeling anything. Two, I didn't have the itch at this point. I had the shake. So I was shaking like if I was cold. And I looked at my friend. I said, I will take the shake over the itch anytime. So I was just shaking and shaking and shaking and shaking and shaking. I didn't care. I'll take the shake all day long before the itch. Like the itching was horrible. So I was happy that I was getting the shake. So at this point, this is when I started like calming down. So at this point, my makeup... F my makeup. I don't care about the makeup anymore. That hour and a half ruined my life. Like, I was just so exhausted at this point. I was just like shaking from just like emotions. I was so hurt. I was emotionally and physically hurt. So when the epidural kicked in again and I was not feeling any of these contractions that was very strong, I was so relieved and so happy. So at this point, it's like around 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm just trying to relax and just trying to calm down. At this point, I'm just trying to calm down. And then the doctor comes around 6 a.m. to check, and she looked at me. She said, all right, we're about to push. So you're excited to hear that because you know it's about to be the end. But when you just went through this, you're like, can I catch a break? And so anyway, and I was like, well, I got an epidural. It should be fine. So at first it was the nurse. I started pushing with the nurse, and the nurse was frustrated with my pushing. She was like, I need you to hold your breath. And I was like, the thing, girlfriend, is that you count 1, 2, 3, 4 for me to push, and it takes it's hard for me to hold my breath this long. So if you could just like speed it up, you know, maybe I could push the way you want. Because I was pushing, I was holding my breath, I was doing push, but then I was running out of breath. So I would, and she said, no, stop doing that because then you're not pushing anymore. And I'm like, but I feel like I'm pushing. So we kind of had a back and forth. I was like, I was crying. I felt like I was not doing anything right. I was like, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And you're just fighting me about my pushing and my breathing. Like, at this point, I was really, really tired. But I was happy that I was pushing. But I felt like, dang, how long this is going to take. So then the doctor comes in. She said, okay, you need to push more. Then they gave me these handles under my legs to actually grab, to pull and push more. I was feeling the pressure, but it took a while, of course, and I was getting tired and tired. Like the pushing, the 10 seconds, 3 times back to back. She's like, all right, push 10 seconds, take a deep breath, push again, 10 seconds, okay, take a deep breath. And like you feel rushed. Like I felt like I was about to have an asthma attack. It was hard. I was like holding onto this bar and pushing. I feel like I was just exhausted. Then the doctor came, like I said, and she made me push again. She's like, you're gonna have to push harder. Like I was like, I'm giving you my harder. Like I was really giving you my harder. So at this point, I'm in a mode where I'm picturing myself at the gym, like literally. When I was like grabbing this, like the bar, I felt like I was like grabbing weights, and I'm just like getting angry because sometimes I lift heavy and I'm getting tired, I just get angry. So I'm like grabbing the bar and just getting angry and pushing with all my heart, my soul, everything. And the doctor at one point says, at one point, I'm gonna tell you not to push anymore. Don't push. You're gonna feel like you need to push, but don't push. So we're at this point where she tells me, all right, don't push anymore. And I'm looking at her, and all I feel literally is that I have to push. Literally. She said, don't do it. So I'm over here like it really holding on to myself, like don't push, but it feels like I'm pushing. So while I'm not pushing, they're like getting set up, everybody, like it's getting real. I guess I'm having a baby. So then she gets ready and she's like, all right, now you're gonna have to push with everything you got. And I'm like, man, I've been giving you everything I got. It's like I'm borrowing from other people right now. Like I don't got it anymore. Like what you want from me? So she's like, then I got my friend, push. I'm like, you know something I don't know? Like they all pressure me. You got the doctor, the second doctor, 1 nurse, 2 nurse, and my friend. And I'm just like, y'all do this for me, okay? Because you're asking me for too much. So I'm just pushing. And I'm telling you, like, my hands handling the bar are just shaking. And I'm a pretty tough girl, but I'm just like shaking. I can't even hold on to the bar anymore. And at one point, they're really pressuring me to push, which I found out later on is because the heartbeats of the baby was slowing down, and which I'm glad, because I gave them my last, I borrow pushes. I got a loan literally for these last pushes, and I push it, and that the lady tells me, look at your baby, like come into life. And I'm like, I'm not paying attention. She's like, look. So I'm looking, and she's like holding the head literally, and I can see him, and she's just pulling the rest of the body, and then all I can do is just breathe, and I'm just like, I felt like Jesus was on the cross and he said, it is finished. That all the pain and suffering, not comparing, but just at this moment, like all the pain and the suffering was over. It was gone. It was leaving his body. It was finished. He could finally, go to the Father. And that's how I felt. I felt like finally it was finished. This whole experience, everything, the pregnancy for 9 months, the stress and everything I've been through, to the 3 days in the hospital, and the labor and the pain, and everything was finished. It was done. And it was a new journey that was starting. But I felt so relieved, and they put the baby on me right away. They cleaned him, and I just looking at him, and I just started crying, just crying, because knowing my life, I didn't want children before. I didn't want children, and then you get older and you don't know if you're gonna have children, and I felt like I probably will never have children. So, and then when I got pregnant, it was just so much going on. You're like, oh my gosh, it's just, you don't even picture yourself having a child. And then when your baby is here, it's like everything makes sense. It's like it was really meant to be. And yeah, it felt like a miracle. It felt like everything literally was worth it. Everything made sense. I looked at him and I was like, you were inside of me this whole time. And he was crying, and then he was just like looking at me, just literally looking at me in my eyes, and I was just like, look at you. And then he nursed automatically right away. He took on the breast really quick, really fast, and which was another experience for me. It was pretty amazing. And then they took him from me to put him on the scale and to measure him, and everybody was like, look at your baby over there. And I had stopped crying, and then I look over there to him. He was crying, and I started crying again. I said, he's so beautiful. And I just kept crying and crying. Yes, you're beautiful too. I just kept crying and crying, and then I would stop, and then I would cry again. When they brought him back, I kept crying, and it was intense. So I was in the hospital from March 21st, and I had Hayden March 23rd at 7:49 a.m. He was 8 pounds 4 ounces and 21 inches. He was healthy. He was beautiful, full of life, and with no issues. So I was very, very, very grateful. They said that you forget the experience in the hospital. I will never forget my experience at the hospital. But I understand now that I look at him, and he's 12 days old. I miss actually the day I was at the hospital and I saw him for the first time. I don't know if I would want to go through the whole lack of epidural at that point, because it was very traumatizing, and I still am traumatized literally from that moment. But just looking at him, I'm like, wow, like I don't even think about my life before, if I miss it or not. Yeah, everything makes sense. I've never been this happy. I'm in heaven. I love this little thing, and I feel like my only concern, my only desire is just to protect him, to love him, to be better for him. And yeah, that's all I care about. So that was my experience. So thank you guys for watching, hearing my crazy birth story. And yes, I'm a mommy now. Give it a thumbs up and share. Bye-bye.
I had a headache. About to eat my food before this epidural. Yeah.
Yeah, that's him right now. You're getting a live video. He is, he came out 8 pounds, 4 ounces, 21 inches. My little